Hey guys, we are back in HOPStart, and you guys are well aware that I'm in Bangalore and we are lining up really cool and interesting careers to start with. And today's episode is really unique. Have you guys heard of permaculture? Because today's episode is understanding permaculture as a field where actually it has an emerging opportunities for you guys to start your career with. And first of all, chatting with all the founders of the company of Ananas Studios and what they are up to, it's going to give us more clarity about this new field and for you guys to think about whether you want to start with it or not. So let's not waste too much of time and let's just see what these guys have to say.
My name is Kiri Miley. I'm a permaculture practitioner and co-founder of Ananas.
Hi, I'm Janani Mohan. I'm a permaculture practitioner and co-founder of Ananas.
Janini, Kiri, welcome to HOPStart. Thank you so much to give us time in a very short notice as we are traveling to Bangalore and we happen to kind of stumble upon to this amazing concept which you guys are into. Before I get into Ananas, the studio, the work, I want to know a little bit about permaculture because to be very frank, I am not very much aware of this entire concept till now. So why don't you give us a little light on this?
Okay. So permaculture is a design methodology. It was it started in the late 70s in Australia by Bill Mollison and David Holmgren.
All right.
And they were trying to understand how we could live a more self-reliant life, provide for our own needs, but also while within the carrying capacity of the earth.
Okay.
So that means how can we provide ourselves with clean water, clean food, care for the soil, and all of that without doing any harm.
Right.
And so they studied different communities who were able to live in that way and came up with this methodology. And there are certain ethics that we follow. So those are universal ethics, and actually many communities already follow those that live in harmony with nature. So that is care for earth, care for people, and fair share. Yeah.
That's quite an insight. That's actually a brilliant thing I just got to know right now.
Yeah.
And Janini, why don't you tell us? So now that I've understood this a little bit about this, is organic farming also a part of this?
Yeah. So permaculture is a contraction of two words, permanent and agriculture. So it's applied ecology with a set of tools that we can use to do agriculture sustainably.
Right.
So organic agriculture is a part of sustainably growing food.
Interesting. So how did it all start? So I suppose you both and Himanshu, you all three started this entire thing. Let's talk about the journey a little bit.
So we were all, so Himanshu and I were already independently practicing permaculture. So the journey actually started, for many people who do permaculture, the journey starts with doing a design course. But we were already interested in how we could live with nature, and Himanshu's background is in architecture and mine is in environmental social sciences. That's what I studied, but I also did gardening workshops and things like that.
Right.
And Janvi has a design background and studied at NIFT, and so we were all kind
You
of...
bring a lot of things together on this platter and kind of making it really nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
And where is this heading to? What kind of projects are you guys involved into right now?
So the nice thing about this methodology is that you can apply it at any scale. So we do smaller garden projects, like we have a community garden at Jakkur Lake. And then we also do larger farms and community farms.
Right.
So our larger projects are 100-acre plus, and we have one in Tamil Nadu in Krishnagiri, we have one in Coorg, and so we're working with Bee Forest, which is a company that does farming collectives. But we also focus on smaller private projects and helping people anyway, how to apply these methods and these principles to their own land. Basically, our main aim is to allow people to understand these tools so then they can practice them themselves and no longer actually require us. So a lot of what we do is about
self-sustainability eventually,
but also like a lot of knowledge sharing, passing on this information, so give them as much as they need so that then they can do it on their own. That's kind of our approach.
That's nice. And 60% of, I mean, I might be wrong with the data, but around 60% is agriculture adding to the economy to our country in today's date. How can that have an effect with this, or like an advantage with this initiative?
So one of the things that's happening right now is that a lot of conventional agriculture functions on high external inputs. So for example, there's a lot of fossil fuels that go into producing, that go into running machinery, heavy machinery that you need for agriculture. You have fertilizers and chemicals that are required for this kind of thing. And what happens is over time, not only does that create a dependence of farmers on these things, and then they end up living lives of debt, and that's created a lot of we know all about the farmer suicides and things that are happening in the country. And so the other thing that happens is that the land gets very heavily degraded, and the soil can no longer provide the yields that it could initially. And all of that has happened because of the Green Revolution and these different sort of modern agricultural practices. And so a lot of what we're looking at is how is it that one can have that kind of fertility, have that kind of yield without the impacts that happen, from that kind of from conventional agriculture. So for example, the idea with this is also that we're trying to mimic natural systems which are already very abundant. Like if you look at a forest, it doesn't need any kind of external inputs. Like it's just providing as much food as every creature needs in the forest.
Till the time we are killing it.
Until the time we come in. And so the point is that there's a very distinct connection between how we manage our land and what kinds of lives we lead. So when one looks at economics as well, we have to think about, well, who is really benefiting from that economics? When we're saying that it's contributing to the economy, who's really getting that benefit and who's really not? Who's bearing the brunt and bearing the risk? So the whole way in which we see how we're working with the land and the whole way in which we look at agriculture has to completely transform. And so I can't say necessarily what percentage would happen if we all converted into regenerative agriculture, but we definitely can see that the way that it's going right now is not necessarily sustainable. People constantly have to abandon their land, move to another field, because they just can no longer, many people have to go to the cities and so on. So in terms of numbers, in that sense, one can't necessarily say, what the impact would be, but definitely in terms of livelihoods and just the welfare of people, if we all go more along the lines of working with nature rather than fighting against it, which is what most of the ways in which we do things, then there would be a tremendous shift in just the wellness of the country,
overall,
and people all over.
Yeah, amazing. And after talking to you guys about this, I'm very keen in kind of how I can volunteer to it. So, we have young viewers and, they are thinking of how to start their career with and what all stuff they can do, and apart from, of course, the conventional route of career and professions, I mean, these are also parts out of which you can make a living, right? You guys are making good living out of it, right? And plus kind of contributing something to the wellness, and it's great. How does someone get into, maybe be a part of you if someone wants to be a volunteer or something like that? Even maybe a part of your team.
Sure. First step is, I think, awareness. Just wondering about where your food is coming from, where your water is coming from, and what happens when these sources stop. What are you going to do then? So there's a lot of resources that we have put up on our website, books to read and articles and PDFs. Our website is ananas.design. So first step is that. And the second step would be that we conduct volunteer days, so just come meet us and talk to us. And there's also a blog post on our website about the different courses that are being offered in India for permaculture. For the people that cannot afford to spend 14 days on a permaculture design course, there are introduction to permaculture courses which are 2 to 3 days long.
Right. And that can be done even if someone's doing something else also. It can be done parallelly as well.
Yeah, right? It's a weekend thing. So start from there. You meet all the right people. You're in the network and you're in the community.
And have conversations the way we are doing right now to understand more the way I am understanding more about it. And Janani, Kiri, it was amazing chatting with you and getting to know about this. although it is a very short chat we had, and it's actually a subject which we can actually talk in a length. But after a quick break, I'm looking forward to have a chat with Himanshu as well, to kind of dig a little deeper as well with him. So thank you so much, guys. Thanks for being a part of HOPStart and giving that amazing insight. And thanks for telling me a little bit about permaculture. I'm going to read about it more. Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank
It's
you.
fun.
2, 1.
Hi, my name is Himanshu Arthiv. I am a permaculture practitioner and I am a co-founder of Ananas.
Himanshu, welcome back from the break, guys. And so Himanshu had a chat with Janini and Kiri, got to know a little bit about permaculture, about the impact, about a lot of things which I didn't know about. But now what I want to dig a little more deeper. First, let's get into the categorization, like what all things are coming under permaculture, like you guys are involved into. Like before the interview, we were talking about landscaping and all that stuff.
Right.
What are the things which are coming?
So we are primarily an ecological landscape design company and we practice this through permaculture.
Right.
And our main areas of focus are water, food and other energy systems,
Right.
as well as building communities
Right.
through workshops, through volunteering days and a bunch of conversations, interactions, narrations,
Yeah.
and a whole lot of things. So our
So like when ecological landscaping, what is it like? I mean, how do you take it up, like a
So
project like that?
in permaculture, one aspect of things is that we don't look at anything in isolation. So we believe in like integrating several aspects of
Yeah.
be it design or be it any other field. So because in nature things work together in different systems and we
Yes.
bring those systems together harmoniously. So an ecological landscape design also involves us to look at water, to look at the food, to look at the vegetation and to look at winds, to look at even what is passing through a particular site.
Right.
So we go into an in-depth analysis of different aspects
Of that
on different flows that
Right.
go through
Right.
a particular field or a particular farm or a particular landscape.
Right. As Kiri was mentioning about one project in around the lake.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about a particular project. So
Yeah.
for maybe a little bit more understanding for our viewers, like
Okay.
so when you start a project around a lake, what are the things from the scratch? If you can tell me a little bit.
Yeah. First of all, we ask the question as to why. Why do we need a certain intervention here?
Yeah.
If there's no problem, let's not try and fix it. So we start from there, then we go into understanding every site and every project has a particular context and we look at that context first. Through this context, we do something called an environmental study,
Right.
which involves us assessing water, which involves us assessing the wind directions, which involves us assessing people, vegetation, and who's using this
Right.
this landscape. So from there on, we go into actual designing of this. So it involves us to do a primary research
Right.
on and we put together this environmental study, and then that feeds us into the design aspect of things.
Right.
So and after that, we involve the community through this process, and then they're the ones who are going to be slowly implementing the entire project in a way.
Interesting.
So we work collaboratively with people.
Right.
We work collaboratively with different kinds of people that come together to make that any project happen.
So what
in a
kind
way.
of collaboration you have? Like, is it with some kind of a company? Is it to do with some individuals, or is it maybe
yeah.
at times the municipality?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. So we have different kinds of collaborators who come and work with us, and
Yeah.
we there are individuals who come with different sets of skills,
Yeah.
and from various different backgrounds. We have artists, we have people in science, people in architecture. So
And the collaboration, I mean, so that's what I was trying to understand
Yeah.
basically. What kind of collaboration? So is it to do with some companies? Is it to do with the municipal organization
it's
or the other bodies?
So one of the projects that we're working on at the lake is to do with the corporation and the local community and individuals.
Right.
So it's the lake has like all these
Everyone's
things,
coming
these
together.
segments coming together and
Yeah.
working together.
Yeah.
In other projects that we're working on is mostly collectives where there are individuals who bought that particular piece of land. They would all come in and they would work with us together. So they're individuals again from different backgrounds.
Right.
So and there are individuals who come to our companies and they want to work with us at their own skills, at their own capacities.
Right.
And these people they work with us at a project level, at an individual project.
Project-wise,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Himanshu, it was awesome chatting with you and kind of getting a little more deeper about the understanding of permaculture, and of course before this the word with the ladies as well. But last, to wrap up this interview, out of context question, since it's a career, this is the second time in this segment I'm saying this is a career oriented show, because this is the only career oriented show in our channel.
Nice.
And the question is, if someone has an idea and if someone wants to start up something, maybe it's not permaculture, it can be anything, it can be like a scientific ideas and something, anything else. How to kind of initiate it, how to execute it, because you know it a little, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you started, you thought about something, you started it, and you guys been building up and things are happening, traction is there. Any tip or any advice to the young guys who are actually wanting to like have ideas but they're still like thinking how to go about it?
Yeah. So we have, again, like I said, like I mentioned earlier, first one would ask as to why we're doing certain things. And that gives you a lot of answers to begin with. The next is to think about who do you approach to solve certain ideas and how do you collaborate with them. That's another way to go about it. In permaculture, we also have about 18 principles or so. So you can, and these principles are applicable to any field of any sort. So if you just go through them, we have it in our studio put up as well. If you're able to go through them, you can actually inculcate one of those any of those principles to take this idea forward. So
awesome.
that's probably one way to go about it.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm sure these guys have got some insight out of this as well.
Yeah.
Himanshu, thank you so much. It was pleasure talking to all of you guys today and knowing so much about it, something which I, to be very frank, didn't know much about. And it's very interesting. I'm going to talk about it like with people ahead, and best of luck for all your future endeavors.
Thanks.
Great having you in HOPStart. Thank you so
Thanks.
much.